Your gun rights just got a Supreme Court warning. What if I told you the highest court in the land has just sent a crystal clear message to gun owners? Whether you're carrying, storing, or defending your rights are now under a refined test, a test that flips the script on when and how law enforcement can act. The Supreme Court of the United States has made a decision that doesn't just affect criminals. It affects you, your gun, your home, your freedom. Welcome to Survival Lawline. Today we're breaking down exactly what happened, why it matters, and how this ruling could rewrite your rights across the country. If you care about protecting your firearm ownership, standing your ground, and staying free, not just now, but for the long haul, subscribe, hit the like button, and stay with me, because this one matters. Chapter 1. A legal earthquake for gun owners. Behind this decision lies a powerful shift that few saw coming. While it's framed as a constitutional clarification, the real meaning strikes at the core of what it means to own and carry a firearm in America today. This case is built upon the foundation laid by the 2022 Bruen decision, which forced courts to use history and tradition as the lens for judging all gun laws. After Bruen, over 1,500 gun-related cases flooded the courts, challenging everything from magazine bans to carry permits. But this new ruling adds teeth. It doesn't just preserve that framework, it strengthens it by tightening how laws must match our nation's earliest constitutional practices. For everyday gun owners, this changes the landscape. The ground has shifted beneath our feet, and knowing the rules is no longer optional. Chapter 2. 9 Justices, 1 Message. A unanimous 9-0 ruling from the Supreme Court is rare. When it happens, it sends shockwaves. In this case, that shockwave hits directly at overreaching regulations and empowers every lawful gun owner in the country. All 9 justices agreed. States cannot stretch their power just because they disagree with firearm ownership. They made it clear. Strict scrutiny is now the expectation, not the exception. The justices didn't leave wiggle room. Vague safety claims are no longer enough to override your rights. That means unconstitutional laws in California, New York, Oregon, and beyond could soon fall like dominoes. This isn't just legal jargon, it's a direct message. The rules of the game have changed, and gun owners now have the upper hand. Chapter 3. What this means for you. This case goes far beyond legal paperwork. It is a direct message to every gun owner across the United States. It redefines the rules of engagement between law enforcement and citizens. The decision puts clear limits on what officers can do when dealing with gun owners. It reminds the nation that owning a firearm does not strip away other constitutional protections. If anything, it now strengthens them. You are no longer automatically considered dangerous because you own a gun. Officers must present clear legal justification before seizing firearms or entering your property. Warrantless entry based on vague safety claims is no longer acceptable. The ruling makes it easier to sue when these protections are violated. This shifts the power dynamic. It returns control to the Constitution, not personal interpretations by individual officers. Chapter 4. Fear is not a legal excuse. One of the most powerful outcomes of this decision is that fear, suspicion, or vague threats are no longer enough to justify law enforcement actions. The court has placed strict limits on how the Fourth Amendment can be interpreted. In recent years, states have used fear-based narratives to pass laws that burden law-abiding citizens. This ruling calls for an entirely different approach. The Supreme Court wants laws to be rooted in the original meaning of the Constitution, not modern emotional reactions. Courts must now use historical tradition, not present-day fears, as a legal measuring stick. The government cannot rely on public safety claims alone to justify home entry or confiscation. This weakens the legal standing of red flag laws in their current form. Judges must now compare all such laws against standards from 1791. This decision closes the door on fear-based enforcement. It forces lawmakers to respect history, not politics. Chapter 5. A new era of lawsuits has begun. This case has opened the floodgates for new legal challenges across the country. It gives attorneys and gun rights groups the legal fuel they need to fight back in states with aggressive firearm restrictions. The Supreme Court's language was clear. The decision sets a national precedent, which means it can now be cited in lawsuits from coast to coast. Gun owners who once felt powerless now have one of the most powerful tools in their favor: Lawsuits are now being filed challenging high-capacity magazine bans and waiting periods. The ruling supports challenges against city-level firearm restrictions and intrusive storage mandates. States with harsh permit systems are vulnerable to federal lawsuits. Even executive orders on gun control could be brought to court under this ruling. The legal war is already underway, and this time the Constitution is not on defense. It is on the offensive. Chapter 6. A direct warning to anti-gun states. This decision sends a sharp signal to states that have gone too far with anti-gun laws. It tells them that their efforts to work around constitutional protections will no longer be tolerated. The legal system now has a roadmap to reverse those policies. States like New York, California, and Illinois have relied on creative legal interpretations to enforce restrictions. But with this ruling, the Supreme Court makes it clear that such strategies are not constitutionally valid. State-level bans will now face more intense legal scrutiny. Laws rooted in emotion rather than history are at risk. Courts are instructed to reject modern reinterpretations of the Constitution. Lawmakers are now limited by original intent, not shifting public opinion. It is a legal recalibration, targeting the core of how modern gun laws are written and enforced. Chapter 7. Red flag laws in the crosshairs. Red flag laws have long existed in a legal gray area. Promoted as tools for safety, they often bypass due process, allowing the government to seize firearms without a criminal charge. That era may be coming to an end. The decision in this case did not directly strike down red flag laws, but it built a legal structure that could easily dismantle them in future challenges. The court's focus on historical tradition makes it difficult for red flag laws to survive constitutional tests. Red flag laws often rely on ex parte hearings without the gun owner present. Many allow firearm confiscation based on vague threats or social media posts. The ruling strengthens arguments that these laws violate the Fourth Amendment. Future lawsuits will likely use this decision to challenge red flag enforcement. This is not the end of red flag laws yet, but it marks the beginning of serious legal trouble for them. Chapter 8. Impact on law enforcement behavior. Police departments across the country are already adjusting how they operate. This ruling affects not only what laws say, but also how officers interpret them in the field. And that shift is already being felt. Departments that used to lean on vague community safety justifications are now requiring clearer proof and formal warrants. Officers are being retrained on what constitutes a legal search and what now qualifies as a violation. Entry into a home now requires higher legal standards. Officers can no longer use ambiguous threats as cause for firearm seizure. Lawsuits against departments are rising in light of this decision. Legal advisors are updating department protocols to avoid costly mistakes. The culture of law enforcement is shifting, and the Bill of Rights is being re-centered in the process. Chapter 9. Civil rights groups join the fight. It is not just gun rights advocates who are celebrating this ruling. Civil liberties groups, including the ACLU and other privacy watchdogs, have started to cite this case in their own legal battles. The decision has crossed political lines. This is about more than guns. It is about home privacy, bodily autonomy, and protection from arbitrary government power. The ruling has reignited interest in the broader principles of the Fourth Amendment. Groups are filing amicus briefs in similar cases nationwide. Challenges to surveillance programs now cite this decision. The case is reshaping how courts view privacy across digital and physical spaces. It is creating unexpected alliances between conservatives and civil rights liberals. The movement for constitutional protection is growing, and this case is now at its center. Chapter 10. What happens next could be bigger. This ruling is not the final step. It is the opening shot in a much larger legal battle that will play out across the country. New lawsuits are being prepared, new policies are being reviewed, and future Supreme Court cases are already being built. The Second and Fourth Amendments are now locked together in a legal dance that could reshape the balance of power between citizens and the state. What began as a specific dispute has become a national moment of reckoning. Expect multiple Supreme Court review requests in the next year. More states may pause enforcement of questionable gun laws. Federal agencies could be pulled into new legal fights. The ruling could soon be applied to digital privacy and surveillance issues. The legal aftershock has only just begun, and you are watching it in real time. Stay ready, stay informed. This ruling is a monumental victory, but it is only one step in a much longer journey. If you are a gun owner, a defender of the Constitution, or someone who values personal liberty, you must remain vigilant. Subscribe to Survival Lawline for the most reliable, expert-level updates on the cases that affect your rights. Like this video to push the message further, and share it with friends who need to know what is happening behind the headlines. The Constitution is not just history, it is your defense in the present, and we are here to make sure it stays that way.